Recently, Robert Reisch, former labor secretary under President Clinton and a big progressive champion over the last decade or so, he wrote an op-ed for The Guardian where he talked about the fact that we still have, sitting in Congress today, Republicans who just 5 months ago voted to overturn the results of the 2020 presidential election. And everybody kind of seems to have forgotten that. And Reisch points out that we obviously can't forget that happened. But it really made me think, because he's right. When you look back on January 6th, what do you think about? You're not thinking about the fact that you had people like Ted Cruz and Josh Hawley and Tommy Tuberville voting to not certify results from certain states because they wanted Trump to be president still. Even though they knew it wouldn't work, even though they knew that's not how it works, and what they wanted to do was physically impossible, they still looked at those democratic results, saw the will of the people, and said, nah, screw it. We don't care. That's how tribal and partisan these individuals are. And so far, not a single one of them in the House or Senate has been held to account. Not one of them has been punished. Nothing. And more importantly, the public seems to have moved on. They focus on January 6th on the insurrection. And obviously that was a horrifying experience. Don't get me wrong. I sat here, literally right here, looking at my computer screen, watching all of that unfold, the insurrection, the riot, all of it. It was, I never thought I would see something like that in my life. And then after all of that, after they got these cretins out of the House, or out of the Capitol building, these Republicans still went in there, knowing they had a job to do to certify the election results, and still said, we're not going to do it. Those people that were just in here, those people that had us running for our lives, we're going to side with them. Where's the messaging on this? Why is the Democratic Party not running ads featuring these traitorous Republicans? Show footage of the insurrection and then show that immediately after that, they went in and they voted to not certify the election results, even though they know that those election results were accurate. Because as we all now know, the plot to overturn the 2020 election was actually cooked up all the way back in 2018. They knew the big lie was just that, a lie. But they still voted to overturn the election results, to not just pander to Donald Trump, but to pander to those psychopaths that were just in that very building where they were casting their votes. They have to be held accountable. They have to be held liable. Something has to happen. And if the Democratic Party is not going to run ads calling out these individuals for trying to overturn your votes, then at the very least, Congress and the House and Senate, need to formally sanction each and every one of these individuals. If not, introduce legislation to expel them from their respective bodies of Congress. Sure, none of it will be successful, but that doesn't matter at this point. Show the American public that you have not forgotten, but more importantly, remind them of who these individuals are and show that you are at least trying to do something about the fact that these individuals wanted to overturn the results of a democratic election here in the United States. That should be an unforgivable sin. But I'm afraid far too many people, 4 months after the fact, have already forgotten about it. And if they've forgotten about it after 4 months, it's going to be ancient history by the time the midterms roll around.